Hello everyone. So on this video, I will be talking to you about the Harappan architecture incomplete. So it will be um, it will be a comprehensive as well as it is a I will try to include every part, every element of this architecture without leaving even a one. Okay, and this will definitely be very helpful for the PCS paper and as well as for the Indian Civil Services also. Okay, so let's now move ahead. So see, basically history includes what? History basically includes art, and history includes what? It includes art and architecture, and which ultimately tries to help us to try to understand the culture, tradition, lifestyle of our ancestors, right? And with that, now let's move ahead with the Harappan architecture. So Indian architecture in terms of the period is been classified into three parts, that is ancient, medieval and the modern architecture. So in the ancient there are five, it was divided into five period, that is Harappan art and architecture, modern art and architecture, postmodern art and architecture, Gupta age, South Indian art and Delhi South Indian art. And in the medieval there is a Delhi Sultanate and Mughal art. In the modern Indo-Gothic style and the Neo-Roman style. So moving ahead, if we have to understand about the Harappan architecture, now let's see how does the Harappan architecture basically look like. So remaining remaining on at the excavation site reveals the stunning sense of the town planning. First of all, okay, this town planning were, if you see the characteristics, those were a rectangular pattern. As you can even see in this picture here, you can even see that there is a rectangular pattern shaped type of a block houses, and the roads running north south east west direction and cutting at the right angle. Okay, this is something very exquisite pattern that we can see in this picture also. And three types of buildings were found at the excavation sites. Mostly those were three types. One is a dwelling house, public buildings and the public baths. Okay, and the material used for building this kind of a buildings were burned bricks, which were basically the burned bricks, and this was joined, basically this was joined together by the gypsum mortar, right? Now the city was divided into two parts. One is the upraised citadel and the lower parts. Even you can see this in the picture also. This is what you can see right here is a upraised citadel, okay? And the lower part which you see over here in this picture is a kind of a building that you can see. So these are the lower parts, all right? So upper citadel were basically used for granaries, administrative buildings, parallel hall, courtyard, the resident of the rulers or the aristocrats. Well, these granaries were very intelligently designed with the air duct system, okay, raised platforms. So such kind of things can be found in the citadel, okay, in these granaries. Others that, and these were used basically for the storage of the grains and the protection of the grains from the pest. So this was a very revealing feature we can see from this city in the Harappan excavation site. So prevalence of this public bath, okay, as you can see even in this schematic diagram here. So the prevalence of this public bath are basically indicating that it's a ritualistic cleaning in the culture. So example is the Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, which was found at the excavation site. All right. So how about the lower part now? Lower part were basically the one roomed house, which is basically used by the working class people. And the stairs indicate that they might have been there, the buildings might have been a double storied, and they have a private wells and a ventilated bathrooms. Now, the most striking feature in the city was that advanced drainage system. Please note advanced drainage system. So this advanced drainage system were basically the in which small drain ran from each houses, okay, and these small drains were connected to the large drains running along the main road, that was basically on the main road. All right, so this was the very striking feature that we have seen came across in the Harappan city. So the importance of the hygiene and the public, both in public and the personal, were taken considered. Okay, this was very important in looking to their designs and their designs of their city and their houses. Well, this was about the Harappan architecture. Now let's move ahead with the sculptures of the Harappan civilization. So Harappan sculptures were basically three-dimensional volumes. Commonly found were three types. One is seal figures and potteries. Okay. Now we'll try to understand seal figure and potteries in detail, and making sure that it will be very comprehensive to our syllabus also. So seals basically three. See, understand that sculptures were basically in the three-dimensional volumes. Most commonly were seals, figures, and potteries. Seal, figure, and potteries. All right. So seals. Archaeologists have found numerous seals of a different shape and sizes. Most commonly of them were uh, square shape. Also, rectangular, triangular, and circular were also found. Material used were ceatite, which is basically a soft stone, commonly used material during the Harappan period, and gold and ivory were also used. Now, talking about the seals, what are the various descriptions that we have found in the seals? So basically, seals have inscriptions in a pictographic script, as you can even see here. This one is a pictographic script. Okay, this is a script but in a pictographic form, in a picture form. Like you can even see this kind of fish kind of a structure here, fish kind of script. This is revealing something, but it is yet to be deciphered. All right. And the writing style was bi-directional writing style. On one side they write from left to right, and other was the right to left. This was a bi-directional writing style they followed, they practiced. Other is that the animal impression were also carved on the surface. Example, the unicorn. Even you can see in this picture, humped bull, tiger, elephant, etc. were found, and no evidence of the cow was found on the seal. And generally, seals had animal figured on the one side and inscriptions on the other side. Okay. Now, what are the application they might have used the seal for? Seal were basically used for the commercial purposes and helped in communication extensively. This is also used for the trade. It is also used for amulets in the dead bodies. Like in the seal there is a hole, it is attached to the dead bodies, which are basically for the personal identification. And other is that it is also used for the educational purposes, as the mathematical patterns and the images we have also found on the seals. Now, what are the famous examples for famous seals that we have found? Those were, number one is the Pasupati seal, one of the very famous seals that you have even seen, might have seen this on the various books. Okay, so Pasupati seal is one of the very prominent, prevalent, but this you can see it was cracked, so this part of the seal was found. And unicorn is the other one, which I even showed you above on while explaining. Unicorn seal is also one of the very important seal found on the excavation sites of the Harappan city. Okay, now moving ahead, next is the figures. Okay, as I said, first was the seal, second was the figures. So figure most commonly were the bronze figures. Okay, at that time. So Harappan civilization saw a wide scale. Harappan civilization saw the wide scale practice of the bronze casting. Bronze statues were made using the lost wax technique. So what is this lost wax technique? So let's understand. See, basically wax figure were coated with the wet clay and left to dry. It is heated and allowed wax inside to melt. After heating, the wax will melt, which is inside the clay, okay, which is of a wax figure, and wax is poured out through the tiny hole, and liquid metal is poured inside the hollow mold, and which is cooled and solidified. Then the clay coated is removed and metal figure is obtained. So this is how the lost wax technique is basically used to make the bronze figures. Well, most famous example were the bronze dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro. As you can even see in this picture, this is the very exact picture of this bronze dancing girl. Another one is the bronze bull of Kalibangan. Okay, this is the bull you can see. So these are certainly some of the pictures, figures which are very prominent at the time of Harappan civilization. Right now, next is terracotta. So terracotta basically used to the it is used to refer to the fire baked clay for making sculptures. Okay, they are made using the pinching method. Now, what is this pinching method? Well, this pinching method is basically, in this pinching method, it is basically this kind of sculptures were basically found in, they are basically found in the Gujarat and Kalibangan. Examples were the mother goddess, as you can even see in this picture, and the mask of the horn deity, toys, etc. were the various type of terracotta which is used during the time of Harappan civilization. The other one is now the pottery. Okay, this is a very significant artifact that has been found from the various Harappan civilizations. Potteries, if you see, potteries found at the excavation site were classified into two: plain pottery and painted pottery. Painted pottery were basically also known as a red pottery and black pottery, because the red is painted on the background and black glossy paint is used to draw designs, figures, example of like mathematical patterns, or trees, bird, animals, etc. Examples were wheel-made wares, which are most commonly used, and handmaids were very rare. Polychrome potteries were also found. Application: plain potteries were used for the household purposes like storage of the grains and waters. Miniature vessels were basically used for the decorative purposes. Some potteries were perforated with a large hole on the in the bottom, and the small holes on the across the sides. This might have been used for straining liquor. Now, next is the ornament. Harappan used varieties of material from precious metal and gemstones to bones and even baked clay to make ornaments. Both men and women wore ornaments like necklaces, fillets, armlets, finger rings, etc. Well, on the material, if you on being a very specific to it, beads were made from the carnelian, quartz, steatite, etc., which were very popular and produced at a very large scale. And it has been evident from the factors that were found from evidence from the Chundudaro and Lothal. In case of fabric, they used cotton and wool, both for the poor and rich. People of the time were conscious of the fashion adult, which were revealed from the hairs and their beards. So this is about the Harappan art and architecture. I hope this is clear. Thank you.